pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do you have a chance to look at the minutes? I looked at that. I have one possible correction. Probably the first paragraph. I don't think Connie's not a clerk. I would say Connie Elman recorded the minutes. Just omit the word clerk. Other than that, they appear to be okay. I would move that we approve the minutes of Tuesday, December. Do you have any corrections?
If I remember right, when the meeting opened up, I don't know if Jeff, I recall Jeff being here, but it didn't have his name mentioned as being president.
Well, it said, no, the board met, Chairman Jeff Shealy called the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no problem.
Yeah. I would move to approve the minutes of Tuesday, December the 3rd, with the correction of omitting the word clerk in the first paragraph. Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried 2-0. Chairman Shealy is attending, I think, a conference for his own business. So I will be conducting the meeting. I think the extension has a meeting tonight. We're invited to, anyone can make that. It's at the Exchange Motor Bank.
I haven't attended, Mr. Chairman.
Good. Any other commissioner comments or committee reports? I would report from, let's see, which one I want to start with. The Multnomah County Health, the Multnomah County Health Department meeting last night, and we have a new chief part-time CEO, and he's doing a really wonderful job. He's cleaning up a lot of things. One of the issues that we are dealing with is trying to get a better agreement or encouraging NEKES, that's Environmental Services, to basically become an entity on their own. As of right now, they're part of the Multnomah County Health System. They're using our tax ID number, and there's a lot of real cloudy area of who's liable for the employees and this and that. And so the CEO is working with their board in order to either work out a better interlocal agreement, so some of those things are defined better, or they're working out the possibility of them going out on their own. So we would still be a part, but they would become their own entity, have their own tax ID number. You say right now, we're kind of liable for their employees, and even if we don't have any say hiring and stuff. And our report is good.
There's a mayor up there.
Yeah.
We just got off a conference call for NEGAP, and we had our monthly meeting, say we go by water, so we had our monthly meeting over the phone, so that's taken care of. So that's all I have. So, Matt, you got anything else for us? We've got two gentlemen scheduled here at 1:15.
We're early.
There's nothing wrong with that, and we can get out early.
I have a J-CAP meeting tomorrow.
Okay. You got any POs or anything for us?
Yeah.
First one is for new leaf springs on one of
Springs Road.
Springfield. This one's for a couple of leaf boom truck.
Is that the written on there, Dave? Yeah, Blue Crook.
Yeah. And then the last one is for the 210 road signs.
Okay. It is Highway 74, right? And that is, as far as you know, it's all completed.
Yep, just got done talking to my guys, and they were just finishing putting up one sign there right in Potter. KDOT has already removed all of their signs, so, done deal.
Okay.
All you need now is a check, check's in the mail.
Is there anybody to be able to notify Pat of us taking over Robinson before that?
Well, just the people I think that have been notified, the post office,
Residents?
well, and they definitely have, and the GIS department, so that the ambulance dispatch can be fixed, and I think those have all been notified. So,
I'll make a phone call just to double check, make sure that's been done, but I'm pretty positive Wes was gonna take care of that, but I'll double check on it.
I think it was the 12, I think he had 12 people notified for the
For the address.
address changes and stuff like that. Yeah.
You open up that can.
That's it.
Probably should go off.
Not me, since you know.
Not right now.
Do you expect anybody else, or is
That's it.
Huh?
You expect anywhere else, or is?
this it?
I think we're ready, boys.
One microphone.
Matt took a lot better pictures than we did, I guess, so. But we got this bridge down there. And this year we updated our combine, got a better combine.
well, they have duals on, as opposed to single tire.
Yeah, and so we gotta go back north to the corner, gotta go 2 miles east, cause the first mile east, you can't get through there either.
No, we have to go 3 miles.
3 miles east.
I drive the combine, I know.
Well, 3 miles east and then
Well-
half a mile back just to get,
Well, to get to there, we have to go 10 miles, we have to go to Effingham and down to Blacktop and come in from the east to get there, because there's no bridges we can get through north of there anywhere, except coming in from the east.
yeah.
This bridge is 16 foot wide. The, 6-row equipment just goes through it. If you hold your breath, you can see how many times the banister has been gone. And hydrous applicator, we have to take the outside cover and disc off on each side to get it through there.
Will this weight limit, or your combine weight?
9 ton weight limit on it.
Yeah, right.
I did have lunch with Tom Bennett out the Houghton election day, and he said if we widen it, they could also raise the load limit. You know, he said he didn't think it'd be too hard to widen that bridge, that more piers out there.
Well, you'd have to put to drive the piling for the
Wing wall.
that, then you'd have to redo the wing walls also. But,
Right.
I don't know, but I think they'd have to do something
Yeah.
to justify the weight instead of just widen it.
You'd have to put more beams in to raise the weight limit, is how they would raise the weight limit.
It's just that the bridges, all the bridges coming in from the north are too narrow and too low weight limit.
How wide is your combine, then?
How wide?
Yeah.
Right at, what, 17.9, right at 18,
Yeah,
right at 18 feet.
yeah, right at 18 foot.
Can you get across that one, that is, 2 miles south of there? It's a 20-foot wide bridge, I believe,
2 miles south,
or north, I'm sorry.
Straight,
Right off straight up to 116 there. This is 116.
the concrete one,
Yeah.
I did try it because I didn't think it was wide enough, but how wide is this?
My book says 20 foot.
Do you know the load limit on that? Is it the same as the other? Well, I just thought in my mind it was narrow, I didn't even measure it, to tell you the truth, Matt, so.
That's 11 ton.
Which one are you talking about now? I've got,
Just off of 116.
but is it on clay or is it on shine?
It's on clay.
It'd be just south of 116.
Well, our biggest issue is, we got the ground on the east side of the road, so for me to go around, there's ground north of the bridge I farm, and to get to other ground, I go to the south road and go back in from the south road back north to get that's on the other side of that creek that this drains. But even at that, I would go back, I'd have to go back to here and here and here. Or what I did is I went here and over here and back, and to start with from home, I went up to Effingham, came down, yeah. But even with anhydrous applicator, 6-row planter, and nobody farms anything smaller than 6-row, and, we're kind of thinking too, some of the reason taxes have gone up so much, guys are giving a lot more per ground, it's made it a lot more valuable. So, but the reason it is guys have gone to bigger equipment, they can farm more ground, they're spending their money on the ground, and it's raising the price of the ground, and consequently, you guys are getting more taxes because of that. If everybody was still running 4-row stuff, price of the ground would be a fourth of what it is, so. But just,
Price of rent is a factor to do as well.
Yeah, price ground has no factor in the land use rate. It's a green price.
But I understand what you're saying. Basically, what you're saying, you're paying more taxes and you want to see some results.
Yeah.
I agree.
Some of that tax money needs to be coming back out there, in road and bridges.
And I think you'll see our budget, that most of the, where the new tax money from the increase in land use valuations went back to road and bridge this year. Compared to past.
But you also got to remember that when diesel's $4, just to maintain what we used to do is costing us more. And you realize that.
Yeah.
And you realize that.
Yeah, I think it's good, because we're beginning to go into where we're gonna start planning. I think it's another year before we qualify for any state funding. We have no idea. It's the way the state and the feds are talking, we're not sure how the joint funding is gonna, it seems like every time we turn around, they take money, they defund this program, or they don't fund it near as good. I can assure you that this year's budget, Matt's budget was improved. We've got a 2-year program for Edwards Road. Some people ask me, why didn't you reduce first, well, next year, the first 2 miles gets taken up and completely redone. That's the next 2 years project.
So something like this where we got several, what's the profit? You go in and you have a survey done, which one's more critical than the other, or how do you?
Well, it's basically when we have our 2-year, bridges inspected, I'll go in and, look at the bridge inspections. Like this bridge is actually, they're, wanting to widen. We actually drove 4 new piling underneath that bridge there, about 2 years ago, after the last inspection, because they found a couple rotten piling underneath there. But I put some numbers together, and to widen that thing out to 24 feet, and put some extra stringers in it, so we can take the weight limit completely off, put a concrete deck on the bridge, redid the wing walls, we're looking at just over $60,000 to widen it out.
Did you get the drainage figures for it?
No, I did, I looked on my big map on the wall, and it does drain quite a bit.
There are some watershed dams on it up above.
That should have a bearing on it, if we go through the right channels anyway.
Yeah, I didn't have time to get that done.
And I guess we're not asking for a huge, I mean, we would be satisfied with 20 feet. You know, there's two bridges just west of there that are both 20-foot bridges. And, you know, 24 might be overkill there. You've got another bridge that's an issue just a mile west and a little bit south, big, tall concrete sides, and it got, I don't know if you've seen it since the accident where the west got hit and broke, and, but it, you know, it's got walls that tall, and it's how wide is it, Matt?
It's not an inspected bridge, I'd have to just measure it, I'm not sure.
It's probably close to 20, but it's, you know, it's,
I know the road down there was 24, I think, so.
and it comes in at
Yeah.
the bridge. But it's one that gets a lot of traffic.
That's my question, how much traffic gets on this here?
This is a gravel township road, Bassie's go across the lot, Hammonds. And there's people that live on it there just north of the bridge, go to the valley all the time. The bus used to cross it, I'm not sure. It still does?
Yeah, school bus.
So,
According to the bridge inspection, it's, 10 vehicles a day. But I know that's an estimate on their part, but.
it's a low estimate, but, you know, when you farm down there, you see the travel, and there's plenty of travel on it.
Do you have any idea how many 16-foot bridges we got? 'Cause I know we got one we have to go around a long time. And go around.
No, I'd have to look through the bridge inspection and figure it out.
I think we need to look at that stuff, because, I mean, we're gonna have to wait it out, because, you know, once we start that, there's gonna be a lot of people who've got a 16-foot bridge that they're gonna want done. And so that's what I'm saying, is we're gonna need to have to know, so what we're up against, if we start making a plan, is when we're gonna do this one, when we're gonna do this one, how we're gonna attack it. You know, I think we really need to, I told you this morning, I got Department of Ag to work with us.
Yeah,
If we could, and this deal with them,
yeah.
rather than going through the water people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one is gonna be way too big to put a big culvert in, it's just those too many acres.
Well, but we need to look at how many watersheds, there's watersheds, because when you
Right.
talk to NRCS, that makes a big bearing on their recommendations. When they recommend putting some kind of a tube or something in too, so. But, I sure wanna look at, because even if we had to put 2 tubes in there, that's a lot cheaper than that. That's what we're looking at, several bridges that we've got. Situation, maybe not even necessarily like this, and I know we've got some guys come up and approach us about a year ago. They only have banisters, but the bridge is just only 16 foot, so
Yeah, this is
You
it's a common problem, you know, that there's.
Well, yeah, there's some.
Everybody's getting bigger equipment, and the bridges haven't kept up with as fast as the equipment grew.
Yeah, equipment got so big so fast, and
Well, and there's one, out there, the guy's got single wheels on his combine, but just to the corner where we at, Matt?
We were right there.
Yeah, these two bridges here, and there's farm ground in between. I'm not sure how he gets out of there with,
one's 3-ton
The
load
grain.
limit, and the other's a 6-ton load limit on them two bridges, and the farm ground in between.
them, so.
Yeah.
There's no side rails on the bridge, so, you know, width isn't the, you know, that you can't legally take a combine or anything. Very few things across it, so. But anyhow, that's, we won't take up more of your time, but that's why we came in, so.
Hang around and help us with some other stuff. We need some wisdom.
When spring comes, get Matt a couple more guys that retired on it.
Okay.
Ed's gone, and Harold's retired, and since passed away, so get him back up to staff. Yeah. we thank you for your time.
Yep.
Sorry Commissioner Stevens not here today, too, but
But no, I'm working on a plan and, I mean, Steve, you know, noted that you guys have a problem and we'll look at it and do everything we can.
And we do have a way out with our drain, I mean, we can go north and, I think probably Commissioner Eckert got that cement bridge put in going east. But, you know, it'll handle anything, and so we can get out with our drain, semis go to the highway and stuff.
Without taking one of your tires off, we can't get across.
So,
Well, as you can see on my map, it's color coded here. All of the bridges in orange are, rated as 4 bridges. So you can see,
oh, my word.
you can see our work is cut out for us.
That's what I was gonna say. You know, I hate to say no, and I hate to say yes, but it's gonna become knowledge down the road, there will be some roads that have to be closed, because we just can't maintain all those bridges.
Yeah, all of these orange bridges are classified as in poor condition right now. And the green ones are fracture critical.
and that one's color coded orange, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Is, so it matters, the rails, are the rails part of the structure, is that just a safety thing?
It's just a safety factor, they're bolted on, bolted or welded.
Just angle iron.
Yeah, it's just angle iron.
2 by 2 or 2.5 by 2.5 angle iron. And they're good catching anything that is a little wider than the bridge, so. Like I say, anhydrous applicator, which is, you know, just the base unit wings folded up. You don't go through there, so.
I think you do, I mean,
And I'm not saying take them off, you know.
That's gonna be my question, is there any way that we could angle them out till we get
Well,
the problem fixed?
they originally were put up straight up and down, they're already like this, so.
I mean, in this case, even if we angle them out, it's not gonna help, I don't think it'll help them.
It won't be fun, no, because one of those tires, even at best, is, I mean, actually, each one of them duals is gonna have to be sticking out of the,
Mm.
pretty close to it.
It's not safe to take them off, because if you're crossing with, like a big combine, all your weight's on the outside stringer on each side of the bridge anyway. and-
Yeah, who wants to do that, you know, that's not.
Yeah. So,
I still wanna look into the, work, let's see if we can work through the department of ag on. Instead of going through 7 different departments to get a permit. Part of our goal here is, for some of these bridges, we're finding we can replace with 2 if we get a little creative. And if we can do that, that's a whole lot cheaper. No, lower price, excuse me.
Cheaper
But we-
infers less quality, and that isn't any less quality, it takes the water through, and
But we've run into problems getting them the permits to do that.
Well, see, the state standards basically, and Floyd, you may relate to this, is they start with the opening, and, you know, they could care less how much water's draining down through there. I mean, water's sitting there, they wanna know how big the opening was. Well, those bridges were built way back before we had a lot of the conservation done and all this stuff, you know? And so that's the first standard they start with. So if that bridge measures, say, 40 feet by 8 feet, that's 320 square feet. That would take, what, 4 or 5 tubes
Yeah, big,
to match that.
and the spillway is around the north end when you get too much at the bridge line, so. And it's been there many times, so.
But we talked about that on the last project we did. The worst it's gonna do is run over the road, you know, if it got too high, but they wasn't worried about it, but.
Is this bridge south of the bridge we had a problem with earlier in the year?
You know, it's east of the,
East of that?
the one south area, it's north and east of there.
Yeah.
Mainly east.
Yeah.
Mainly east.
Mainly east. So what, is that mainly different, is it actually a creek, does it have a creek name or anything?
I don't know, does it have a creek name?
I mean,
It'd be a tributary to
there's
something.
not water that runs through there 365 days a year.
up there on west is Cold Creek, but I don't know if this has a name.
Sand Creek maybe, I'm not sure.
I looked on a map of the shop and I didn't see where it had a name. But there is, it flows all year.
It has water runoff. You may go a couple weeks in the summertime, real hot, real dry, long time, that it'll go underground, and as quick as we get a shower, it's right back up running under
So
the.
it's probably something along the lines of a spring or overflow on the
Well-
watershed dam.
Property we have at that intersection, go a half mile east, this spring fed, the WPA has put in a cement tank, and it runs water it never quit, and it runs through the road and goes into that, and so that feeds that, keeps it running all the time, so. Part of what keeps it running, but it comes from up north across 116, clear up in there's where it all starts and comes down through there, so. Going northeast from that bridge, up toward the 4 Mile Corner.
Does, and I'll try again, look at it, but does that bridge, where the bridge is actually, is it wider at the bridge than it is back, upstream or downstream?
It narrows up a little bit below the bridge, but right away it's at a corner, and the east-west road, it goes under it right away, so it's a short distance between two bridges, but it's wide above it. It's maybe a little narrower below it.
Well, I'm trying to get creative here on how you figure math on that, because a lot of times you go see these bridges, and the way where the bridge is, I mean, the shoals and stuff, or the banks, or way, you don't need them that big, but that's what the state starts measuring with, so I'm just trying to think,
Well,
how big an opening you actually need to handle that
a
volume.
quarter mile above this bridge, two tributaries come together. So you're coming from the northeast with one, you're coming from the east with the other, and so it handles a lot more water than either one of the other two.
I'll go out to the offset mapping and see if I can tell me how much it
You know,
drains.
yeah, because Dave'll be able to take into account what the conservation work upstream is done to help determine how that may not have a bearing, it didn't have that much bearing when we did that bridge up there north of us.
Right.
But it didn't afterwards, when they changed the route.
Right.
I'm getting started on that. We went through the whole process of going through, we gotta get special permit. No, they wouldn't let us put one in. David said a 6-foot tube would easily drain 480 acres. That's even if you didn't have a watershed dam, there's a watershed dam in that place. So they told us to go for a special, or to put 2 tubes in there, and we got the permit in a week, and a week later, they wrote a new rule that if you drain less than 640 acres, you didn't have to get a permit. Now, that's fact, right here,
Yeah.
when he came up and told me, I thought he was pulling my leg, because I went down there twice and been with him, and I didn't get very far, and then he gets that letter.
The bad thing is, you know that they knew that was coming.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. They didn't say, just hang on a couple of weeks.
No.
No,
Let's see what happens.
And it cost us $3,000 to do a hydrology test for the special permit, and instead of 1 tube, we put in 2 tubes, so we're looking at about close to $9,000 what they made us spend, what we wouldn't have had to spend. I mean, it was cheaper than $40,000, $47,000
Yeah.
bids, but,
Yeah.
you know, it took
We
one.
wouldn't have had the money to put in a culvert somewhere else, big culvert somewhere else without doing that.
It took one guy, one ecologist or whatever they call him, he wrote that he said you would be, by putting 1 8-foot tube in, it would interfere with the flow of the fish up and downstream, and if the ditch is not even a stream. Because the ditch starts right just above the bridge, just a little way.
Well, no more than acres you're talking, it's not gonna run water all the time.
And just upstream of it, there's a watershed dam.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, common sense doesn't win out, so. But- We appreciate you considering it.
Yep.
Thank you very much for your time.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
I think we're gonna have a short one.
Take care.
No, see you guys, have a Merry Christmas.
Same to you guys,
Yeah.
too.
I have a cold, I'm not avoiding you.
Floyd and Greg Oswald. Yeah, his Floyd, his name's just Floyd Oswald, and Greg, that's his son, Greg, Greg Oswald.
Did you get a hold of, our railway people?
You're gonna ask me about John Strong.
Well, we can go there too.
I communicated an offer to him, I've not heard a response.
But how long do they have to respond?
I told him to get back to me this week. So he told me in a couple days.
You contact Mr. Wilbur as well?
I did not. I know I do, but I have not yet.
Did you contact John?
Who? John Strong?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's working on, some changes.
Well,
Yeah. I explained to him, well, I don't know if he's working on it, he's talking with his bosses about it. So. We got them, they know they need an agreement with us, so. But, now I'm going to be judicious, I won't harass him. Judicious.
that's not the word you use.
Prudent.
That's not it either. Unreasonable. Unreasonable.
We got you over there.
Yeah.
Prudent, that's the word.
Did, Chase approach you with the possibility of you, Road and Bridge, moving those gates out at,
I think he asked me about it. Now, it's been
well, last
probably a
week,
month ago.
well, okay, but yeah, but last week he brought up a solicited bid, and he thought it was pretty high, because they were just moving,
Right.
It wasn't building anything new.
How much was it?
Enough.
Oh.
Too much.
Yeah, he asked me about it, I told him, I thought all that had to be done was just a couple of new holes, they had to be pulled up out of there, a couple of new holes, augered, set in the post, and
He
then,
mentioned that you said you didn't have an auger big enough or something.
we didn't have to
Rinse,
rinse,
you could rinse something.
yeah, we didn't have to rinse. We don't have anything to really, all we've got is an old, auger you put on the back of the tractor.
You
That's
probably
a
need,
rent one for probably a Bobcat or something.
you need at least 24-inch hole to set those in.
Yeah, probably, cause I think they're at least 12-inch. They're probably even bigger than that, they might be a 16-inch pipe or something like that they're set on.
You got a skid loader out there, you don't do it.
We share a skid loader with, Senior Village.
I got a post hole there that you can use as long as I'm out there to make sure that they used. And I've donated to the county, they can use it. And I don't know if I got a 2-foot yet, but I got pretty good.
So,
So all Texans and skid loader works pretty good. I can bring it up.
yeah, that was my main deal, was we didn't have,
I didn't figure you'd have it here, I mean, yeah, you don't have a need for something like that, but if it was a matter of just even renting one or having somebody dig the holes for it, I just figured that we could probably,
yeah, we can take our boom truck out there and take the gates off, and the biggest thing would be setting, the posts after you get that done.
I think my bit's 20 inches, but I'd have to wait.
I don't think that would be, I think you'd want a better base than that. He thought, I don't think they was figuring out those posts in the ground 6 foot.
They're in there,
No, I'm talking about around.
I know the depth too, I mean, you're gonna have something,
This is like,
you'd almost even have something like Westar, some of them, I mean, you may
yeah, you
take.
have to get one, and then you can.
I don't know who, Trot Law put those in. Can't remember his first, Alvin.
What's your water department, yeah.
Well, no, he's deceased, you know.
Oh, it must be, what's his
Yeah, it was his dad. His dad is the one that put those in, and, I know they're built stout, and he did it right when he put them in.
Rick, can you check, see if Chase is in his office and not, call him and see whether he's around, maybe get him up here and visit about that, because it's not good drilling. The ground froze once you got to the, they may be out, so software.
No, actually, it'd be a decent time for us to do it, because, I mean, we're working on that bridge down there, but it's our slower time of the year right now.
Yeah, you still have to be ready for the weather changes.
Right, and even if you didn't have a auger big enough, I mean, Casey Bobcat sometimes say, we could rip one if we had to.
I don't know how heavy the gates are, but how heavy you may need a 4 foot. Or you may need something like pretty good size.
Well, I would think that if you could see how big the concrete is, then you'd have a pretty good idea how big a hole you've done before.
I was out there when he put those gates up, but, I can't remember, a real big hole. It was probably around 2 foot or something like that.
Well, even if you had a foot of concrete on either side, or more, and you had 6 foot in the ground, that's gonna hold a heck of a.
Right. I think blue gates, they are built stout, they're made out of like 2x2, thick, pretty good iron. I think they're in the ground, like I said, down there.
You don't have any question. Did you call Chase or text him?
I'll send him a message.
Okay. If you got time, let's hang around, maybe if he gets up here, see what he's found out, we can sort of go, either look for some more bids, it was pretty hefty. We thought, maybe it ended up being cheaper than thought, or not bad. Huh?
More than that,
What?
$2,000 or?
31.
No? Yeah, it does.
Because there's nothing, I mean, the only new stuff was the concrete,
Right, yeah,
so.
yeah.
Joe, you got something for us real quick?
I don't really have anything today, just checking in,
Oh,
so,
is it warming up?
a little bit. Supposed to go the other way, I think Friday though, isn't it?
I think today's supposed to be the one that's that week, isn't it?
No, I think later in the week, but of course, they keep changing.
It's supposed to start raining. I'm supposed to get it 40 Friday, start raining.
Is it?
Council windows and stuff.
They've got, top windows all in, all the lintels are in, and they've got all the top windows in, and now they're working on the bottom. By the end of the week, they should have all the windows in. Looks pretty good. You stand in front of them now, you don't feel the cold.
Did we go ahead and put doors, we're gonna put some new doors in down?
Yeah, they haven't got them in yet, but they're ordered, yeah.
Okay. So they submitted, I mean, have we given them a payment yet or not?
I believe so.
We did give one,
I
didn't we?
think so.
I think we paid the lentils and stuff, that they, should have been pretty good size, and I haven't seen it, but it should be a pretty good size bill. Because it should have been for most all the materials.
And we still haven't got any change orders on that, have we? I mean,
Yeah,
We shouldn't have now, if we got one, so they would.
no.
no, they're pretty well done, so I don't see how there'd be any change orders. If they was, it'd have to be really minor, so. That's good, that's not very
Yes.
often that happens.
No, I remember the elevator, I mean,
Yep,
this and then this, and, nickel and dime and death and all that stuff.
get these old buildings, and yeah, the change orders is common.
Yeah.
We've been pretty lucky on this.
Pretty lucky to find somebody that knew what they were doing, because the bid was so much, it was so much less that it really concerned us,
Right.
and-
Yeah, it is a little scary.
Yeah.
They seem to have done a good job so far.
Just so the windows and lintels last lifetime,
They should last a couple hundred years now.
yeah.
If these are galvanized, the others weren't, and these here also have coverings on them for moisture, so they should last at least 200 years. And if you're around 200 years, I'm pretty sure the windows, they seem pretty nice windows. I think they'll last probably 50 to 100 years themselves. After we get the courthouse, we'll be all right.
Well, we're contemplating that after we had a meeting a little bit ago on the big bridge. And their point was correct, I mean, the land values are going, I mean, that taxation is going up. That map kind of,
That map's handy to throw out there, and it really shows them what we're up against.
Yeah, I think Warren Bowers had a pretty good article about bridges too, a couple months ago in the comment about how no counties could possibly be saving enough money to fund them all. As expensive as they are.
That's something we probably need to look at down the road, not too long, as, you know, what our options are. Is this, if there's not too far out of bounds, we just need to probably eliminate that bridge or put a different color on it or something.
Right.
You know, if they go with it, a lot of them too.
That's what Mike's mentioned, that 2-mile grid several times, that there has been counties that went to that.
We need to look into that.
Are we coming to the stopping point?
Yeah.
I have a question for you about something.
Yeah,
else.
go
The
ahead.
drainage district has 2 5-foot tubes that are like 2/3 of the, we got bid to clean those out. It's $25,000. Is there, how would you go about cleaning those? You just,
You can either, we've done smaller ones with our big water tank, get fresh, put a big pump on it and blast it out. It takes a while, or you can get like a dredge bucket and just, pull it through there. You gotta be careful not to rip the culvert up if you pull something through there.
how big of tubes are they?
5 foot.
Oh, you, but they're 2/3 full, so.
Yeah, maybe half to 2/3 full.
If it's just a little bit bigger, you get a skid steer.
Right. Right. Which would be okay for them to be that way, because they're gonna fill in with the floods mix, but they have to get them inspected. So they have to have them cleaned and get them inspected. But they thought about talking to one of the fire districts to see if they could come out and shoot water in it.
If you've got drainage where it'll run away, that'll work,
Yeah,
but,
there it is.
okay. But, you know, a lot of times when they fill in because there isn't the drainage and it just,
It slows up the flow, and that's where the silt.
but if you've got the drainage, you can probably get a fire, I mean, it's gonna take a 5-foot culvert, if it's half full, it's gonna take a while to.
I think I'd go with it, was a major, like a road work, go in there, cause not cutting this, fence up, get a hole through there. Take a lot less pressure.
It's worse than that, it's 170 feet long.
Oh, man.
That's how wide the culvert is?
How long?
How long it is.
You're not gonna be able to blow it out with a fire hose,
So,
unless you got some real dedicated people who wanna drag that hose and.
They had them Southwest Boulevard. They got school buses.
I don't know.
well, there's no hydrant anywhere near there that they could, I don't know, can you run a mile with those? I mean, it's probably,
So is it, what is it, what is the building? I mean,
well, they have, at the south end of the Benedictine Bottoms, they have pumps down there that they used to pump up and over. They also have gravity gates that they can open if the river is low enough, that the water can just flow out, and these are the gravity gates. So,
So they need a flood inside so they can open them up and flush it out.
I need a really good rain, yeah. The
that
problem,
would take a heck of a rain, that's 170, yeah. All that still gonna, I mean, just think how much that's gonna slow, I mean, after it gets about 20, 30 feet, it's just gonna slow up.
Yeah.
There's several times there.
I was thinking if you had 30, 40 be fast cheap, just to pull it up and put it in new man.
Well, you can't move the levees over it.
They probably got gates and everything, probably,
There's gotta be somebody out there that specializes in that.
Yep, that's probably why they're looking at doing, did you say there's 2 of them?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably, you know, it's not cheap, but that's probably what it'd take.
Yeah, it is. Just thought maybe,
No, I was thinking you were talking like, 50-foot culvert, you know, or something like that, but.
I'd say that's gonna be an ongoing, cause I think you gotta get inspected every 3 years, and I do, I gotta run a camera through mine, and I'm just gonna end up putting in a bigger tube. It's longer, it's usually much cheaper and longer, that I could go under, because every time you run a camera through, I think it's like $5 grand.
yeah, the camera part wasn't all that expensive either, but it doesn't need to be, there weren't any real specs on the camera. Apps and media services can do the camera a lot cheaper and look a lot better than take professional grade cameras out, that can walk through it. Good lighting.
I think you gotta do it every 3 years, so they got told me.
Yeah, I think they get it every 2, but,
Well, you gotta get the fill out so they can inspect the bottom of the culvert, make sure it's not wrong out.
They want your tube, and I never see it close.
and this is coordinated, I don't think they would let you use coordinated anymore, yours coordinated?
My tube mounts are the only one, we put a tube, maybe 75 feet, just half.
Any good suggestions?
Should be about 10 minutes.
Whole thing we were talking about.
Well, I've seen guys, get like one of those, drag line buckets, hook the cable on and pull through, but you'd end up ripping a hole in the culvert.
I get over more or less, maybe Dave. What do you do if you put on, I don't know. Like you said, 30,000 may not be too bad.
I wonder if they blast it out with water or how they do it.
Yep. Is Shelley coming up just to repump our better budget? Matt, do you know why Shelley's coming up?
I do not.
Shelley,
No. I know that we got a notice that they got more appropriations.
It's hard, they don't get cut a lot.
They went up, they actually went up 6,000.
Maybe you can give it back.
You used the word maybe.
When were you hoping to have the solid waste, supervisor hired by?
I think we, tentatively, we will probably set up interviews and probably make a decision on next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, we'll set up for interview.
Because the deadline is passed, and whatever we got, we got, so.
We just got 2, is that all we have so far, Chris?
just to,
Can we have, can we do those interviews during the work session and the executive session during work, or do we need to have it during?
Yeah, no, I think you can. You just need to give notice before.
Because we're not gonna take action till the regular meeting, so.
If you give notice today that you're gonna do that, you can.
Okay. Need to make notice in minutes that we will be doing interviews during the work session, interviews for solid waste manager. Just notice in the minutes, or do we need to do it?
We'd have to contact, let the paper know too, or, I don't know how Pauline's the one, I think, that sends those out now, so she'll just have to make a note in the packet she sends out, that'll be happening.
Because we have a solid waste committee now, will they have, do they need to be involved or not?
I wouldn't think they'd be involved in the hiring of,
I mean, just listen to the interview, or not?
I wouldn't think they would have anything to do with that.
Yeah, if you wanted to have panels like, Jeff had talked about, that might not be a bad thing to have them go through an interview there too. But, yeah, they talk about technical panels being one. If you're hiring a lawyer, you have lawyers interview them. If you're hiring an engineer, have people with, either engineers or people who work with engineers to talk about and ask them questions to find out about competency.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how the statute read, but whether I'm assuming that's really not a duty in there, so either, so.
No, it would be above and beyond the call.
Jack was up earlier on a different subject about a kid parking a truck, and I suggested that he go talk to the kid's parent, says, really doesn't have nothing, set in stone, but we've had some complaints, so you may want to.
I've already talked to,
Yeah, we talked about it. I don't think it's legal to park there.
Okay, and then my next question is, when we redo that, is there any place that we could make a place that wouldn't cost
The
a
school
arm and
bus?
leg and the school buses, so to say, because I don't want any kid to get hurt.
I was wondering if they could meet just, north of there in Pine View's parking lot maybe. There where the old restaurant used to be. I would think that would be a good
It's not
place.
operational, is it?
The restaurant isn't right now.
I think we'd have to get permission from whoever.
Oh, yeah, you'd have to get permission.
Would be,
We just need to, if they say no.
be the school district that really have to deal with it, or,
Yes, school district would.
and it really wouldn't be
It's
hard.
not our responsibility, no.
Yeah, if I was gonna say something to Steve Wiseman, if I seen him, just say, hey, we're, next summer, next spring, that will be, we're redoing those intersections and, probably ought to be looking for a new place to meet, cause I know they meet down at the, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's fairly safe. Otherwise, more said about it, I guess.
Yeah, so, I drove by there one day, I seen that truck sitting there, and I talked to Jack several times about it.
Chris, do we need to make it, public, either a motion or that we're gonna go ahead, and we will be covering the fees on the bank charge fees?
Yeah, well, $2, not $2.50.
To the,
Yeah, it's on the $2 on the first 3,000. And so pretty much this year will be every employee, unless there's a couple, there's one or two that have enough being withheld from their paycheck, that they'll probably get over 3,000 at some point during the
well, I
year.
think there's one or two that have rollover accounts, and they already have
Yeah,
money. Okay, so.
that probably wouldn't hurt.
You'll have that set up so that the bank will automatically charge us.
I'll get that
I just
message
presume
to,
that we put it in the first payment, $30 more.
well, when
But then
the,
there might be some.
yeah, if it's something that goes off, during the year, then we would have paid an extra $2, which, I mean, probably amounts to less than $30 itself.
If the bank is going to bill us separately, I think that's probably the best way to do that, where we can track it.
Well, I would too. That would bug me every single month if I saw that I was paying a $2 fee.
doesn't bother me, there's a little principle involved in this.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing that bothers me about this, I was told 1,000, I was told 3,000, I was told 1,000, I was told 3,000.
Right.
It's now $2 a month on that.
Well, it was $2, it was $2.50, and there was $1,000, and then there was $3,000, now it's back to $2.
Yeah.
So I was kind of waiting to see if it drops back under $1,000, but no, it's $2, $3,000 balance.
You said the city's been dealing with it anyway, so.
The city pays any employee that's under the 3,000 threshold. Their monthly fee.
Is there that much more paperwork that the bank has to do?
Well, I don't think so.
I would say, what would be the difference between that and savings account with debit card? Or checking account with debit card?
Yeah, my bank pays me interest for my checking account.
Yeah, any balance you have over $1,000, therefore, there does become eligible for that employee to earn interest off of or to invest in their programs. So the employees do have the option of rolling that balance into money market, which will pay an interest that they'll get into their account. But it probably won't be enough interest to make up the $2.
No.
In fact, you may not make up the $2 for the full year, I don't know. But the idea is, get that balance built up, and within 2 years, 3 years maybe, the number of employees you'd have running under that 3,000 would be low.
So what's if you get, meet your wellness thing, if you get physical, do you need the hospital to send you a report, or how do you?
There will be a form for the physician to fill out. It has no data on it, all it says is the patient, the individual's name, that
They need to take that with them when they go
Yes.
get their physical?
Yes, and the wellness coordinator has contacted me, they're gonna probably set some up in February or March, the latest, for the bio-screening and that.
So can you get your physical before that?
You can, but I would probably do it afterwards.
'Cause I tell you what, I got mine set for January 22nd, it's hard to get in.
During the biometric screening thing, that's part of it, they'll be doing a finger prick probably and taking some blood, and so you'll probably leave that day with your height, weight, your body mass index, your blood pressure, and your cholesterol levels. And so if you have an issue with your cholesterol, you might want to get your numbers before you go.
So you're suggesting do the bio?
I would do that first, but it,
Change my date.
if you have fairly stable cholesterol level, or if you're something that's not gonna be as important.
So that form, tell them basically what you want from the physical.
What's that?
That form that they're gonna fill out, is that basically telling them what mainly information that they want from the physical?
No, it's just saying that they check this, they check that, and that, and it may, that they've, talked to the patient about what they should be doing, kind of thing.
The only reason I went in to get a flu shot the other day, I said, well, I'm here, I'm gonna just make an appointment, because you just start getting the winter time, they can get booked
Mm-hmm.
2-3 months in advance and stuff, so.
Do they check you for lead?
What's that?
Do they check you for lead? As you get older, you get a little bit more lead in your rear end, a little bit less.
You'll enjoy this, Pat, but the gal, the nurse that gave me, she had to go to our church, and, she was just dying to give me a shot. So I said, that's fine, so I asked her, I said, now, does this flu shot cover the avian flu? She said, never heard of it. I said, yeah, there's avian flu. They had an epidemic here a few years ago, and she said, well, what is it? I said, well, I sure don't want to be going around doing that rock, jump, jay,
Can you
See
believe
that?
they got me to Colorado?
Yeah, I can believe it. Yeah, they're gonna have a tough time.
You can say no.
Florida, at Florida.
Yeah.
I can't get them anymore because they switched their network.
It's on two, is it 219 or something like that? It is on my deep,
I don't know what they're on.
but if they keep beating, I don't care, I'll watch them out.
Well, after they played Duke, I told,
Yeah.
I said K-State's just gonna forfeit, better lose 2 to nothing than by 30 points. And since then, they've been just kind of all over the board, you know, they've had some good games, but they've had some.
15-point lead, let them get slip by, they haven't got no 3-point shooters.
They've got a very young team.
Yep.
They've got to figure out each person's role.
Yep.
And I think by the time comes time for Big 12 play and tournament time, and they'll have that better defined, they'll be a little bit better. But, excuse me, that was traveling. You can't take 2 steps in a toe drag. I can't believe that wasn't called.
They'd be good if they was there 4 years ago, we all know it, 90% of them will be gone next year.
Well, Wiggins will be.
I'm not so sure that he should have been there on recruit after what I've seen that kid from Duke play, and that kid from, what was his name, Randall from Michigan State. Kentucky. I think they're outshining Wiggins.
Well, Jabari Parker certainly did.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be.
I need to let you guys know too, I am planning a vacation, the last week of January and first week of February. So I'll be gone for 2 weeks.
And what Tom Tree you going to do?
I'm going to Hawaii.
To where?
Hawaii for 2 weeks, so.
What's your wife gonna do for 2 weeks?
Well, hopefully she'll be with me, I guess.
I guess. You haven't okayed this with her yet?
No, going over there with my mom and her husband.
I would say don't forget Ashland County, but don't think about it too much either. It's your vacation.
Well, I will make sure that, my opponents, you know, in case they have a storm or anything, I feel confident that they can play the role for 2 weeks.
Make sure that they each have the commissioner's phone number so they can call them directly.
But I'll let you know. I guess, hopefully you're okay with that. Couple tickets are already bought.
You're entitled to 2 weeks, I guess, so. What we're saying.
From what I've been told, don't take a billfold, don't take a suitcase.
Well, it was hard to pass up because all I've got to pay for is food. So it's a pretty good deal.
No, don't take that too lightly.
Well, they kinda got you over there, I'm sure. It's not like you're gonna go.
Yeah, you about know that because beef, even beef, like in Japan, what, $9, $10 a pound. And they're the same way, where you gonna trust the infant, you trust them not from America.
You got pineapple,
It's gonna take me 10 minutes to get up here. What's it like, Phil?
You're up, Shelley.
Okay. Apparently I had car.
Well, we're not. And that's making things, you can move on.
What this is the budget, we received extra funding for DOC for the DUI bill, and it's in the amount of $2,601.35. We put in $234.11 into benefits for one of our officers under insurance, and then we put the rest in office supplies for $367.24. So I just need to get approval.
You need a motion to you need a motion to approve.
Yes.
Come back with the insurance to tell me did what again now?
We didn't have money to pay for his benefits, so we put it in there. And then we put the rest of it in office supplies.
Is this part of the extra new funding, is that for your new budget, you got a lot of new funding, or you got a little increase?
It's for FY fourteen, we got a little extra money from this, DUI fund.
Don't you think it's good?
We did on our overall budget, but then they came up a little bit more,
They
so
cut
we
you
did.
20, give you 2. You're supposed to be happy.
So what do we call this, amended budget, or,
Let me see. It's called the Additional Allocation Budget Summary and Budget Narrative.
okay, I guess if Jeff's not here, can I sign?
Yes.
Okay.
Or I can email it to him, or have him stop by and sign it either way.
Well, he's out all week, so he's here.
I really don't think it's till January 31st. I gotta send it out to my board too, so.
Well, if you could, I'd say we'll give him permission to sign it, if you got that in, I think we'll
Okay.
sign it and stuff. So, I need a motion to approve the, additional allocation budget summary and budget narrative for community corrections, and authorize Chairman Shealy to sign that when he returns. I will second. Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, so when he comes back, he talked about he need a whole week, so
All right. Do you need that, or you want to take it?
maybe we can take it.
Thank you.
Thank you. It'll go some memo out, I think, so. We may want to wait, we'll wait till Jeff gets back, or next week, we'll just make a motion. Because this is, big fun time,
Yeah, probably can be letting Mike Keller know so you can get paperwork set up that way.
First for your meeting.
Is it okay if I let Mike Keller know that?
Yeah.
Because he'll have to draw up paperwork for the
Yep,
thing.
yeah, just go ahead, because I know we're definitely on board for it. First, I think, it would be his, and it would be 2 to 1, so.
You know, I take my chance and that is more smooth.
Yeah,
I mean, just.
I think it's only fair, I mean, you know.
I think the first year or two definitely, and then we can just kind of see from there how many effects and how, we'll have a better idea.
I personally would like to see this, I mean, one of the measures, maybe go ahead and set up a committee, just to review how this thing is working, midway through, and make sure that, so we know if we're gonna make some modification, we'll get some input and stuff, so.
I was gonna ask the question too, do we need to go back and set up a health wellness committee like they have in the past?
Well, they had a health committee that went to.
I know a couple of them were gone and.
Yeah, but that was the actual health committee making the recommendations.
Yeah, I don't, it won't be required by the health insurance plan, I believe. It's something that, we could look at if we need to.
That's before, because they got their own plan, this is when we didn't really have something that had a plan, because we had their own plan.
Thanks.
We need to have executive session, because Jack was wanting to come up and talk about the joint communications director, he'd like to get the ball rolling. The city tells them that they're waiting on the county, and I
Really?
told them that the county's waiting on the
Who
city.
told him that?
You have to ask Jack.
Yeah, absolutely, let's talk about it.
Open.
Yeah, I don't see,
You may want to give Jack a call, because he said what time, and I estimated show maybe 30 minutes.
Well, we'll wait for Chases to be here a little bit.
Okay,
And
well,
we'll
then it
talk
might be
about-
2:30, might work.
We'll talk about that gate and stuff, so. Didn't you tell me while thinking about it, we probably got another year for tires at Effingham?
Should.
Because I know they, Charlie asked me Sunday at church, how does it affect Armstrong? I said, well, I said, based on the recommendation of the committee, basically, once that non-fill is done, we won't be taking tires, it will be, you'll be diverted to having to get your own source of, you know. I mean, most of the places they charge it, but, I mean.
They're they're charging you to dispose of the tire.
Right. So they might as well go.
They have, companies come around, I know I've talked to like Dillon's before, and company comes around like every 2 weeks or something, picks up all their used tires. And that $1 or $2, whatever they get per passenger car tire is covering that fee.
Yeah, and you're gonna be out of this by then, but I have a real question, maybe kind of a problem with when we have the county or citywide cleanups, whether we want to even take tires, because there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna hold off on the tires, and they find, you know, it costs us over $5,000,
Yeah.
that last one. And it's not gonna be fair to not take tires anywhere else, and all of a sudden you got to clean up,
Right.
and now you're gonna pay to have them hauled off. I mean, if they become a nuisance or something, why do you just turn it in environmental and people on? But I'd kinda like to hopefully have that cleared ahead of time, that we won't be on that cleanup deal.
Yeah.
We're not gonna pay tire disposal if we're gonna do away with the landfill, at both landfills.
Yeah. And even before I didn't have anything that was all set up by someone else, and didn't have anything to do with it. Until I got the bill.
It's just a communication thing, that all we have to do is say that if it's offered, why it's gonna have to be self-funded of some sort.
Right.
We usually have one in spring, one in fall, one have two, usually.
Yeah. Spring one, I think, is usually the big one. They usually have, Jackson County bring their household hazardous waste trailer up also, and collect household hazardous waste.
You really didn't give me an answer about your roller, so what you're doing, you're pricing another roller?
I'm looking into it farther. I'll be up next week and have some options, hopefully.
So do you use that when you pack your base and do your seal?
Not when we use a rubber tire roller when we're doing our sealing,
Okay.
but, we use the, steel roller anytime we lay asphalt, or when we're building a road, packing the base in.
Do you ever have any good users of that state snow thing?
I looked on there the last time they had one, they had a couple on there, but they looked pretty well wore out. It's bad, because actually this is one of our better pieces of equipment, you know?
How often is that used with big feasibles or rent?
Well,
Rent one or?
me and Pat and I talked about that a little bit this morning, but it's one of those things, if we go do a little asphalt job, we have to have it, we almost have to have one. Because, things come up and we'll have to go out and lay some asphalt. We pretty much use that thing clear all the way through the summer.
Those towable, you gotta have a trailer for it.
What's that?
Are they towable or you have to have a trailer for it?
You have to have a trailer. The state used to have some that, you could tow, but, anymore all of them are
that I've seen use put on the trailer.
Good low, low boy holding up and doing good.
I don't think you can use logo for a rover, could you?
You could get on there, but we've got that nice rollback trailer that we use to haul we put the roller and the lay down machine on it, and it'll haul both of them at the same time, works out real good. Yeah, even the state, they don't even use a roller very much, they hire so much of that, they farm it all out nowadays. Seems like a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, they do a mile or 2 mile stretch, where you probably do as much patching as you do.
Right, yeah, that's mainly what we do.
You could run that across 2 miles. Now, if you hire somebody for 3 or 4 days, you probably hire you really well.
I know, I was talking to Robbie there yesterday over at the state, and it was kind of, the 74 thing was a little bit bittersweet for them, because they're glad to get rid of it, but he's worried he's gonna lose maybe an employee or possibly a truck over that deal. He wasn't sure, but, you know.
What's that,
They, taking away that 3 miles of Highway 74, I was talking to Robbie yesterday, he's kind of concerned that they might take away a truck or even make them drop an employee over there.
We'll know if we made a wise decision in about a year or two, if they drop the program or they start turning roads back without pay.
I think we would have ended up with it, whether we got paid or not someday, I think it was coming anyway. But you're right, we'll see. Like I said, when we took over, 286 from Lancaster Atchison, they just said, here, you handed us the keys and said, here you go. No, didn't get anything.
Oh, we'll be all right for 4 or 5 years, but then we're gonna have expensive reading.
Yeah, we'll see how that new, the asphalt holds up. But yeah, we'll have to go back and seal it. Here in
My
3 or 4
father
years.
will be doing it.
Father's gone, we're gonna get a nursery school or a babysitter, or,
I know.
I think that doesn't make a nursery school.
What we got, that's, what we got in this code. Wow. Kind of, for this time of year.
You're gonna have to get corn price that way, then.
Yeah, but there's so much it depends, what you do with what you got left over.
Guy I was talking to this morning, has 3 years, good crop, and that maybe he says, it doesn't mean he like to crop, he got
Well, I was gonna tell you, unless there's just another major wise drought, $5 less corn is here for a while. The $150 rent, some of that will change here pretty quick. And then you see accelerated depreciation on equipment, then go back to 25, you can't accelerate depreciation. What's the new equipment sales next year? I do the farm, but man, you look at that income, it looks good, and you go down to expenses, chicken and Christmas. How many dollars you have to handle just to make it right?
Jason's just now leaving.
Where's he at?
He's out at the transfer station. He's been looking for the bid, LML somebody.
Yeah, well, you don't need it.
I told him, don't worry about it, just come in.
Steve wants some.
I'll go out there and, I'll take a spade out there and dig around that post and see about how wide I think that concrete was. I'll get with him and see how big of an offering he got. You don't have to have a high flow machine to run that, yeah.
It'd be better. How old's your machine?
It's not a high flow, it's, I mean, it's a pretty decent machine, but it's not high flow.
Take a little bit longer to drill, so, but it'd be better, yeah.
Oh, the city might have, I don't know if they got any augers down there or not.
I think they set the light pole, we probably have one big enough, you'd have to have at least, I think at least 24 inch for a light pole.
Should do something.
I'll go out there and dig around it. I can't remember digging a real big hole, but
Yeah, but aren't those gates like 30 feet?
they're pretty long.
You're gonna need a pretty big base. That much weight.
Yeah, they're-
Because you go 6 foot in the ground.
I know it's not so much in depth, it's your width from where you get your string. Either that or you tie it off to something else, by welding something. Go out there 6, 8 foot, set another one, so weld to it, helps.
No, we don't have that
You
now.
can't really go overhead.
It's just suspended by that one pole.
Yeah.
Can you pull them out though?
Probably not, what I would do is just track the track loader up there and, maybe take the backhoe and dig around them some and just pull them out with a track loader. That track loader will pick up more than that phone truck will.
You got no lines, you got long, or
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything rather tough with it.
So you talking about what you're gonna dig, but
No, well, I'll call Dig Safe before, Was he gonna put those, right at our property line? Right at the end of the scale of our property line, across the road?
I think he was putting them so he didn't get on the scale, he was going across the road.
you're gonna say they don't put them on property. Still, they still be out there, if you didn't notice. More property line doesn't go too far, what, 100 feet of that skin? 100 feet?
Yeah, I don't think it's even that.
You got measurement in there before?
I think he was gonna put, we talked about one day, I think he was gonna put them, right before there's an entrance on each side of the road for Brad, and they cut across the road right there, they haul dirt. I think he was gonna put them right on the north side of that, so they could still, all it would affect was people going in the transfer station.
There's nobody else uses that road north of us, is there?
Well, we might have to give, Reed's a key to the gate, because they do have a field entrance, right before you go into where you turn to go into the CD area, off to the southeast there is a field entrance right there.
Won't she have to get written permission from them, Pat, put the gate across that road? Cause that'd be landlocked, huh?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
They may say.
Have him talk to him. Well, as long as they have access to it, I'd retract that. I think as long as they have access, that's all they're required.
So you give them a key,
Yeah.
and then they got access.
But they may not, I mean, I haven't done any title work on it. We may not owe them access even if they've been using our access by.
How many acres they got back there?
I'm not sure.
Anything over 40 acres you got, you have, is that right, Pat? Anything over 40 acres you have to give them easement?
Well, it depends on how it got that way, how it was blocked. Because it may not be us that has been, the easement, even if we've been allowing them to do it.
I'd say it's gonna be up to them to give them the middle probably more than 7 years.
They've been going in there since I worked out.
They're not gonna get adverse possession against the county because we're government unit.
That's different.
So,
Chances are, if you say, we're gonna put a gate across here, we're gonna give you a key, so you're not gonna be locked out, you're gonna be fine. I think they need to be notified before this stuff is doing.
yeah, I would agree with that. Communication's always more communication's always a good thing.
Yeah, as long as they don't have a key, I don't know why there would be.
That'd be up to Matt, or up to Chris to check into that, or up to Pat.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as legal right away or access, something like that.
I think it's a Reed. Trying to think of his first name.
John,
Don,
Is that his?
Don
it's
Dory.
the one there just west of the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John,
Well, no, they live, up here real quick. It says Reed Bullock Farms.
Don Dory. Well, his son is the boy. I think it's, what's his last name?
Well, right there,
she married Mark, Kiss,
Yes, yes, you're right,
Kiss.
you're right. I'm still pretty sure it's not Dory, it's not put him on board. But of course, we have the Don.
So,
Well, depends on whether it's just users, if trade one will be on there.
I don't know where they stand, because I was told earlier that they said they're leaving us. Yeah,
We're waiting on anybody, let's get this connected.
Oh,
Well, we can discuss it, but, if you would like, maybe let Jeff look back on his sub county.
Yes.
We can make one last effort, say, hey, we're gonna do it, let the city know we're gonna do it.
Let's see, that's,
what do we gain
Nathan Older, as you know.
after passing the?
well, we've been doing it, and we don't have any agreement in place. Or we do, we have a 1993 agreement that says it's in the basement of their place. Really, I think the important part is the funding issue. That is the commitment that we're both equal partners in the funding. And,
So in other words, it's the other half of what we did with Fall Rock already.
yes.
So, some issues with that is you have the emergency manager as a board member, but currently he serves as that director.
Currently, but he's interim.
Just need to be executive session stuff, Pat.
No, I don't see a basis for it.
So who hires the director? Does the commissioners?
That's what
Or
we're
does
trying to figure
the-
out.
Well, this has the board, the last draft, which was definitely something the city was interested in having there.
Having that included?
Who wants cows that are from our fault? I just think some sense over that road, we're gonna spend on Tuesday.
Where'd you take?
Well,
Where you took it?
Pretty sure it's David Reed.
I just thought that Jim had a girl, Peggy. He had a friend, but I don't know. It may be hard to know what you think, because you've been talking about that airport.
Dave, I've talked to him before, I've never had any problems with him.
How old guy is he?
Oh, he's at least in his sixties.
He's going. Must be that friend or brother, I don't know.
I remember when I first started county, when I worked out at the transfer station, you know, he's always a real nice guy. I talked to him there just a little bit, when we put in that culvert up there on 298, up there off of, Osborne.
Who's got all the lawnmowers here south of the line? There could be a chance of getting them to clean that up a little bit, moving them up, because they got a fence. That looks like crap. I don't know if there's one where we give them
I
this
think-
or not. If you're gonna hate to be too hard on them, because then if that piece of trailer goes on the ground, then he's gonna be back at us.
Oh, let me see, Frank. I don't think we understood that. I think years ago, most of the mowers come from the transfer station, I think. From what I've heard.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
You gotta be careful, if you get on too much, then we have some trash go on his place, and get back, you know, if you, I was his wife, I'd say sell them, get rid of them, and move them.
Yeah.
He's married, it's
I never see anything move.
a joke.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's doing much out there, they just sit there, grass growing off them.
Internet okay? You want-
I was just wanted to give you guys an update on that.
Come on, we're waiting on Chase, go ahead and give us an update.
Just wanna let you guys know that we are switched over to fiber. Catching open arms acceptance from all departments. Can you believe it?
No, I just had a little spell. No, it wasn't about that. Okay, go ahead.
But, it's just in time for the appraisers to start their final review process. I've heard nothing but great things out of their office for now. Hopefully it stays that way. He notices about a tenfold speed increase. And he says he believes it will increase efficiency in this department. Next steps are the PRI for the phones, coming over the fiber and transitioning onto the phone system. So,
What's a PR?
so, I don't know what exactly the acronym is, but
Yeah.
it's a channelized interface for phone lines. It sends a digital signal for the phone lines over the fiber.
Sure.
I'll have it plug right in. We're ready to go.
But that's where we're at.
Good.
Great, good news, thank you. Now we just gotta get paid for it. Snowmobiling, are you?
No, just playing with the equipment.
We're here just, Matt stayed, to discuss, moving of the gate.
Okay.
Did you do any more soliciting, or, cause he's willing to go out and look and see how big a hole, he says they can move it.
Okay.
It's a matter of, though, we may have to rent something to drill a big enough hole to set the
Right.
posts.
So we only have, the road bridge has a 1 foot auger, right?
Well,
I bet you need a 2 foot.
I think it's, I'm not sure if it's an 8, but, or if it's a foot, it might only be an 8, but, Bill has an auger that we put on the front of the Bobcat.
Okay.
He said we could borrow it.
As long as I supervise.
bid process that you had, that you put out was, you thought 6 foot deep?
I was told to assume about the same above ground as below ground, and then maybe another foot of casing.
How much concrete do you think's around it now? How big a hole would it take? I think my bid's 20 or 22.
I mean, that's close enough.
I'll have to measure when I get home.
But it was suggested, because it's an 8-inch column, and then do a 2-foot casing, and then at least the same height as what's above ground, because it's also, it has a 26.5-foot iron tape suspended off of it, so.
I'll have to measure now. Mine may not go down 6 foot, but that's quite a ways, but if mine will get down to that 5-ish. But I'll measure my bid.
Well, and the other thing could be, you know, you pilot the original hole, and then you can make a little bit more room for whatever, because I actually don't know what's down there. I was told to assume that, and put that in the scope of work, so that if it ended up not being the case, that everybody assumed the same amount of work.
Now, the gates will come off the posts, I mean, they come.
Yeah, there's a bolt, 2 bolts in each one.
So,
Is that, are those posts, like they feel, I mean, are they a solid, they filled with concrete or something else?
How long has it been, how long have we been out there then?
Since probably the
I'm
state.
assuming 93.
I'd say cut them off with a torch and put new ones in. While you're digging the hole.
Yeah, because they weren't put in 93, but they was put in shortly after that.
There ought to be some rust, and I think we'll put in it.
Because I was there when they put them in,
That's my suggestion.
probably 94.
8-inch pipe cost about $4 a foot.
I figure you have to get pretty thick, I maybe more than that.
Okay, so,
Yeah, we just got pipe plant probably and get that,
They don't have that thick enough out there.
well, they got that 1/4 inch, you can usually get that heavy wall out there. Yeah, they make heavier
Not, you go to St. Joe's, that place, they use that lot.
Rockridge.
Salvage place, I mean, it's, you know, a giveaway, but it's not like a brand new project.
mhm.
We used to have a place in Lebanon called Smith, but they moved to Tonganoxie.
I know that, we used to buy all of our iron there, and then they moved to Tonganoxie. We've been going up to Rockridge and up by St. Joe.
Yeah, we just, Smithy shop.
Yeah, we used to buy a lot of stuff down there.
Reasonable price, and there wasn't nothing they couldn't make. Build and
So how's the software, you got it pretty well?
We are waiting, we have AT&T coming out tomorrow, they're moving the hard lines, and how does the wireless service that are coming out tomorrow as well. So, assuming they both get there, we can let WH Scale know, and hopefully they can be out Friday to put the finishing touches. We still haven't gotten all of our office equipment yet, but that's a minor thing, I mean, we can move desks around until,
You still won't be able to run an invoice without the office equipment?
Mhm.
Because we're down about 2 weeks of trial for all we got.
and I did talk to, Sheila and Pauline, and, we just, as soon as I get the software up, I can print off a couple samples, of what we'll be generating and sending out, so that we can get the fund numbers and the account numbers and everything. By all indications, it shouldn't be that big of a deal, especially since we're only sending out about 20 or 30 that we can count possible invoices, so it's not like we're flooding with 100, 150 invoices. So we get that, and, some of the haulers have already sent us their fleet numbers and a number of things, so as soon as we get our scale up and running, we can get preset tear weights set, for all of the Packers, the city, Martin, Steffenbach, get everything, and on any of the C and D, we can get as many tear weights as possible, speeds everything up. So, it is still taking a lot longer than it was supposed to, but, we should be up and running by the end of this week. I don't see it taking, but we still have next week as well before we get into the holiday season, so.
That last week, you have trash coming, you have public trash coming.
Yeah, and I was also thinking, setting our billing period from, our first one would be January 6th and not the 1st, because the 1st is on a Tuesday or something, so getting a couple days to deal with holiday, I mean, that holiday fluctuation, we'll just let that, and then starting, our billing period will be January 6th to February 6th, or a 30-day billing period, so, that gives us a little bit of time to clear out all the holiday festivities and get that out of the way. What else will we need to pull the actual posts out, or do we just not even mess with it?
Well,
Just-
we put a new one in, we want to pull them, we'll just have to,
Yeah, we look at
maybe chip them down a little bit and cut them off.
We've done that long, I said. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, 'cause you're gonna have to knock that concrete off of those anyway, and you don't know what kind of shape.
No. There's gonna be a hole, it's gonna be,
So, we will have to, we were talking, there is one field entrance to the, north of where we're gonna put the gates. We'll have to contact that landowner.
could we put them somewhere between that entrance and the post that we have for the scale? Or even put it 2 feet in front of the scale?
But the entrance is still north of there. It's right when the gate where you go into the CD.
Yeah.
That other field entrance right there.
Okay, yeah.
Say just.
We can just put some kind of, we can do something where we can leave access for the,
Well, we're hoping that we can just give the landowner a key and that'll take care of it.
yeah, that's the plan, is to have it.
I'll give you my 2 cents and you'll give me a penny back. I'd stay about 3 foot off the property line, and cut it from the street off the line.
Okay.
And what about have you talked to Marcus, like the dumpster at the lake, if we make a change, we've gotta give some notice that they're gonna discontinue that, I mean, it has no effect on the contract, does it?
Both the lake and the Effingham one terminated at the same time, the same contract,
Yeah, which is in April,
which is in April.
but what I'm saying is, it's all based upon how, I mean, we're not required to keep a dumpster, I mean, if you put a small one, is that?
I don't think it
You
spells
think
out a
we
roll-off.
just what happened?
I don't think it specifically spells out a roll-off, I think we just have a service agreement and we've ordered a roll-off. If we wanted to go down a size for the last couple months of the agreement,
I like your idea, it's your idea about that.
Well, we were discussing that, there definitely needs to be a small roll-off on one of them, or the 10-yard or whatever.
the 20-yarder out there right now.
The 20, but we want a small, just enough that the house can take care of, there wasn't any trash. But my idea was is that they have barrels that when people come to camp, they come and pay you $10 to use the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can dump the trash in there, and then that helps cover the cost of.
If we could work that out with the county lake staff, that would be,
Yeah, they have their own personal trash, they have an option, okay.
I would assume.
Oh, I just assume get the
That-
$10 too.
Yeah, well, give them the convenience of,
Well, you
maybe
just
10
charge them like they used to do, the fee to, camp there overnight, and then that would, instead of
Include-
covering them a fee for trash, just charge them a camping fee overnight, then that would cover them.
And-
But the
and
idea with the barrels is, you wouldn't be getting stuff from out of the sources. I mean, they would bring the barrels there, and the land keeper would go out, land caretaker.
What's happened, that they're finding, they called the other day, and they found some Everest trash in those barrels at the station, so the only time you put the barrels out there is when you know somebody's there. They have to come and rent the barrels, and, you can give them, you can give them most of their money back if they'll bring the barrels and dump it in that dumpster that's not the roll-off, a dumpster
Right.
that's gonna be down close to a dog floor or whatever. So
okay.
that's what I'm saying is.
That's a good, I think that's a great idea.
Mm.
And, it would help pay for the trash, and if they don't bring the barrel back, then they don't get any money back.
Right.
So, that's something I think something to work up, and, so.
So
and-
we would find the barrels or add that on top of,
We'd have to buy some
We'd have to have some barrels.
Okay.
I don't know if we want
I think
to.
they've got some out there, don't they?
Trash, maybe charge them, say $15 with that, refresh your barrel, you bring the barrel back, you get $5 back, so basically it costs you $10 a can.
Does it cost anything right now?
Can we do that?
Sure. That was one of the suggestions somebody said, to start charging.
And then with that money, we put that into account, and maybe we spruce it up a little bit.
They used to charge out there, I'm not sure exactly when they quit charging out there. I know I camped out there before, and it was, it wasn't a lot, it was like $5 a night or something like that.
Last week they come up with some people hunting and, trapping, and the general consensus was we're gonna go ahead and do it this year, but next year we may cut the hunting off.
I was up here a couple of years ago, and we went through that, and they made the motion not to allow any hunting or trapping on county land out there.
There's an existing resolution to allow it. There's nothing,
I don't know if they, I don't know if they actually had a resolution, but I know that there was a person up here wanting to coon hunt out there, and they made the decision then not to let anybody hunt out there.
Well, they had to repeal the resolution back in 89 or something like that.
Yeah, they probably
But
didn't do that.
you couldn't use a high-powered rifle, I mean, you just gotta use, if you
Well,
look,
Mrs. Statler said she gave permission to some people already, so you really can't say, no, you're not gonna hunt this year, but we need to look at that after this season.
they just do it from now, was the first of November till first of
Second
March or
deer season.
something like that.
Yeah, trapping season.
Well, I don't think it allows
More
more
deer hunting.
deer
That's,
hunting,
there
hunting.
was some trapping being done too.
You know, we think I think that's so dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, you got people,
Somebody goes out there camping and their dog gets in a trap or something, that wouldn't be good.
they're pet out deer.
I was here when I get trapped, caught in the trap.
Hi, Jack. I didn't do that on purpose, but I had to.
When would be a good time, for you to get that,
Well, first, I think, we have to check with that landowner first, Pat, before we move it.
Well, yeah,
I will go home and measure what I got tomorrow, I'll have me back here tomorrow. Or Jerry's, and I can pay my taxes. And then I will let you know, I'll let somebody know.
Well, I'll be down at the dinner.
I'll let you know, I'll make a note of it, so.
Okay. And then, I don't know how heavy that gate is, but what kind of, or do you just come out and?
We'll just come out there with the boom truck and lift it off the hinges.
Okay, and then,
We'll just lift it off the hinges with the boom truck and, set the new posts and just.
Maybe another suggestion, you catch a nice day and paint it up, make it look nice.
mhm. That's what we're trying to do right now, is figure on nice days to get siding for the scale house and get all the rest of the street marked. But,
Have we got our signage up yet about,
no, not yet.
do we got it work?
No, I have not,
We need to get on that.
Well, I had a question, and I also, we already have a stop sign, and we have a number of other signs that could be used, we just would need a board to pull for them. Is there anything that I need to do as far as notification, for putting up new signage, because it is gonna affect the traffic out there?
There's a stop sign on the county road, there has to be a resolution to put it up, doesn't it, Pat?
not for a stop sign.
And we're not putting the speed bump, all we're saying is caution,
I think you do that,
without having to,
yeah.
okay. And then the other two, I was half thinking about attaching it to the post that we have already, because other than the stop sign, we only need like one other custom sign, so. I'm looking at it.
resolution for a stop sign?
I don't think we have any resolutions for stop signs.
We got the speaker, or the cable company got permission.
It's already out there, basically all they're waiting for is to get internet, so that.
The green light, the red light, and all that stuff.
Yep. Well, the green light is integrated onto the weight, the meter. So we're gonna see that, I mean, you can visibly see it from the stop sign, but you do have to wonder about, you know, if it's not visible enough for some people, so,
Chris, what do you feel about making like a handout, explaining the tipping fee, the poundage for the first month, and a piece of paper to them? Do you think that's overkill, or do you think that's?
Well, I think you're
Regular people are gonna know it, it's gonna be those walk-up people and that, when you start talking about the 1,000 pounds, and that's gonna get confusing.
Well, we have sent the mailer out, and we also did run a story in the Globe, and we could probably run another one around New Year's time, just as a reminder. But for the most part, we've been answering a lot of questions out there as well, people that regularly bring their own trash in, and, we could have informational, I don't know, flyers or something. But there's a scale, there's a intercom on the scale, so if anybody has any questions.
I tell you what surprised me, it's funny, but yes, not funny. When we assessed the fee, I could go anywhere and hear about it. Now that we can take it away, I can go anywhere and I don't hear any positive that we did away with it.
Really?
Have you heard any positive about us taking that?
Yeah, nobody's gonna say anything, no, but
But did you hear about it when we put it on there?
yeah, so.
Maybe it's just indifference.
That doesn't surprise me any.
I thought out here some obvious, most people do that stuff,
Well, the businesses are.
Sometimes you can't win to listen, you know?
Okay.
Do you know that property owners, that Grafton?
Pat, are you gonna deal with that?
Again, we need to.
I mean, I can
don't know
go
exactly
talk to
what
him, I know
it
him,
is.
if you want me to.
Wouldn't it be much simpler? I mean, I would rather talk, not saying this about you, but I'm Joe the lawyer, oh my God, what did I do now? And you, what's kind of, to me,
I think I can go talk to him, and
I-
I don't think I'll have a problem.
that's what I would suggest.
Go ahead.
Do you need something in writing that says it's okay?
No, I mean, I think it's our land, right?
Well, where the scale is, where we're proposing to put the gate posts, both are within that 25 feet from the center line. I don't know.
It's on our
It's in our right of way.
It's in our right of way.
I think what we're talking about is if we put a gate across there, the person that has the ground.
North and east of us.
We're gonna give them key, we're not shutting them off, they'll have egress, egress, as long as that goes with the place, I presume.
Mhm.
We may have to have something wrote up, legalized. Might save some problem down the road, 15.
It is a county road,
But this person's been using that road to get to his field.
Is it their only easement to their property?
that's what I'm saying is, can we block a county road off just like that?
Well, that's what we're saying, that if we get the property owner if we give him a key, he'll still have access.
The alternative is.
There's got hunters out there too, obviously trucks out there that are hunting, and they're gonna be in and out of there just as much as.
I don't think we're obligated to hunters, I think we're obligated to landowners.
Well, the other alternative is if we just put a swinging gate in front and do some kind of, gate in between the existing posts that we have for the scale. I mean, if our only concern is to prevent people from driving on the scale or, I don't know, leaving Neosho Road unblocked and just finding something that we can put in between, if that's our only concern, I mean, it's.
We could do that, we could leave the gate where it's at and just build a small gate, just swing between the scale.
The only thing, they farm that, would you wanna have to stop them off the gate to go in and spray it, and to fertilize it, to do anything, that's a lot of,
So.
cause if they contract bakers or somebody to come spray it for
Yeah,
them.
I think, when we're gonna be out there, gates are gonna be open anyway.
Yeah.
Only on the weekends would be closed or after hours, but there would be occasions when.
Yeah, but you, in the summer, it'd be, in late spring, it'd be long days, somebody go out there and spray 6 o'clock at night and still have daylight, you'd be closed, so. No, I think if you wanna keep them off scales, start with that.
That might be the wiser choice, just put a gate across the scales and don't block.
So one on each end or just something?
hopefully somebody doesn't go back across the scale if they realize the transfer, because we still get questions about when the transfer station hours are. And I would probably like to change that sign and put the hours of operation a little bit more, visible, because you'll still have people that come up at 4:20 or 4:30, and they thought they were open at 5, and we always point to the sign, and they say, you know.
Couldn't you eliminate that by maybe staggering one employee or two employees, staggering hours?
We have, well, that was something that we wanted to address. Right now, we're, 8 o'clock in the morning to 4:30. The transfer station's open from 8 to 4. The extra half hour is the time out for lunch and then timing back in. And as of right now, and this is the slow period, but all the closing work is done ahead of time. I mean, once we get all of our packers in, the self-hauls, they just kind of trickle in but at 4 o'clock, everybody's ready to leave. And we are, I mean, the operators are sitting there for a half hour, and sometimes it's up to 4 people sitting around for half an hour with nothing to do. So I was wondering if we could set it to either 7:45 to 8:40, or 7:45, 50 minutes before we open, and then 50 minutes after, and just do it a straight 8 hours, instead of clocking in for a half hour, clocking out for a half hour. Because nobody leaves, well, I mean, I don't want to say nobody, but most of the time, everybody brings their lunch, they eat for 5 or 10 minutes, there's no set time period when we do lunch. It's just whenever there's a break in the action, or do it staggered. But having 4 people sit around for a half hour with nothing to do, I mean, I could find stuff to do, but even then it'd be done in half an
My
hour.
suggestion, we're gonna be collecting on that, let's carry on such, and after a month or 2 in, after you kind of begin to see, maybe we need to just start looking at hours, so we can be, once you start seeing when your volume, you can maybe adjust the dip, but I hate to do it. We got a lot of stuff for transition, and I hate to change it now.
Well, with the, going down to 2 operators, that also would change things, because maybe we do need 20 minutes to close. Not in the winter hours, but maybe in the spring when we do have last minute people trying to make it out at 3:55 and having, that kind of thing go on.
I wouldn't be afraid, sure, talk to some of the people, ask them, do we need to be open, one day a week earlier, so some people can come out before they have to go to work, or, things like that. Maybe your Saturday hours need to be later in the morning, and open later in the morning, and have it later at night, open, whatever. Because some people do not rise early on Saturday.
Right.
It's just something you can just visit with people about, seeing, and probably won't affect the commercial haulers.
No, on Saturdays, we have maybe 1 or 2 routes from Martin's, but as of right now, through, I think it's 7 weekends, not counting this weekend, because we only had like 45 cars, because it was that cold on Saturday, but typically you'll get 150 cars on a Saturday, and most of them are going to be in the morning, from 9 a.m. to noon. You have it taper off closer to 4 o'clock, so if there are people that want to do it, or if something is indicating that we do need to change hours, then we can, but keeping it Monday to Saturday, 8 to 4, and just repeating this every time, because you'll still get calls out of the transfer station, when you guys open, or what are your hours, so.
Brown County just opens a half day on Saturday.
Yeah, I thought we're open from 8 to 4 Saturdays?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be good. That'll be good. I just always open from 8 to 4.
No. 8 to 4, Monday to Saturday. So, I can look into, we won't need a heavy duty scale, just something, or a gate.
I'll take care of that.
Okay, for the scale, or?
For the scale, if that's where we're going to go, I'll have my guys in the shop get some iron, we can weld up a gate and have it.
We might put them on both sides, how people are. There's always that one.
Well, that's why I asked.
I
I can see it
if somebody is bound and determined to do the hazard off the ramp, they're gonna do it. So,
Say that.
I've been thinking of worst case scenarios, trying to figure out, and that's the worst case, is come to work and there's a truck in the scale house.
Are we gonna put any protection if somebody goes down the road, they run into the side? I thought we was gonna put some kind of banister.
We have the 4 concrete posts on either side of the entrance of the ramp, and what we're gonna also do is do, safety yellow lines all the way up the ramp. We have the guardrails on the scale itself, and then on the egress ramp, we'll have, we have 2 more columns. So if it can just be a straight, what we're trying to do is get, if the weather will allow us to paint just one continuous line, so if you stay between the yellow lines, you're good to go.
I'd like to see some kind of banister, or something don't ride off that scale.
The scale itself,
Well, the scale itself, but the ramp, there is that 14 feet of space that we're gonna paint, but there, conceivably, yes, somebody doesn't quite, it's something, yeah, it is something that we could, if we need to, we can put that in, so.
What would you guys rather see? Would you rather see just like, one of these, farm gate type thing put out there, or you want us to build something?
How tall are the posts?
5 feet.
They got really light, you can buy them light gates for 75, 75, they may be 100, you wouldn't need real heavy.
Yeah, if you wanted something like that put up, that would be easy to put up.
That's what
I'll answer that question in a pinch. If
Well,
it's raining, they're not doing nothing, have to build a gate, but if it's sunny, get on the road, you'll buy a gate.
Well, it's gonna be a lot more expensive to build one, but it's gonna be a lot heavier gate.
I don't think you need a heavy
I
gate.
don't think so, maybe.
If you just want.
Somebody tries to drive through it,
Yeah.
So you think
have
that's,
evidence.
that's the right idea, to just skate the scale versus skating the whole property?
Yes.
Because we do gate our C and D as well, that there's a separate gate for that, there's a separate gate for the transfer station, and if we just put them across the post for the scale house.
Yeah, we could do that easy.
Okay.
I think we'll start with that, yeah, the other one.
So then you don't need no rest of it. You just mount something off those concrete
Go.
pillars.
Mhm.
And those gates are wide enough. So, we'll just have to weld a couple, hinges onto the post. Can't afford to weld up and this.
Okay.
Well, it's better than paying $3,100. Okay, so I'll just get with Matt and we'll figure that out. And Mark, come on.
Yep.
With that,
You're up, Jack.
I'm sorry?
You're up, you're up.
I was just wondering where we're at with, joint communications.
We're ready to go. We thought the city was supposed to go first.
Yeah, did you hear something from somebody that they were waiting for us? That's what was relayed.
I was told that, I've been told both, I've been told that we're waiting on them, and I've been told they're waiting on us. And it's the same story for 11 months, I mean, it's just getting to a point where my biggest concern is that somebody's gonna get hurt because of our radius, and they're failing, and the city's not worried because theirs isn't failing like ours. And, if we wanna do it the right way and include everybody on this, then we need to move forward with the joint communications. If not, we need to pony up some money and do it ourselves, and then when they wanna come on, charge them, you know, but I think this is a joint effort, and I think everybody needs to be involved in it, in my opinion.
Do you think that's part of the reason why maybe the city might be holding back is because they don't want to pony up anymore? Or they don't have any to pony up? I don't know.
I think they just got, I honestly think they had some issues with the way the resolution was written up, who was gonna be on the board, and they're trying to decide who they wanna put on there, right?
Which resolution, I mean, could I know if
The last final one that was issued, there were 6 of us plus with Trey on there, and then I think that we've got X with Trey being on there, and now we're trying to decide who we want to put on there. I'm still not in favor of anybody else on there, I just think it needs to be the users of it, and anybody that's able to come to the meetings, want to come to the meetings if they want to.
yeah, they're open meetings.
But,
So that would put 6 on, is that right?
that would be 6, and I think maybe his issue with it is he wants to even out the city guys versus the county, which to me, the rural fire doesn't really even count, and really the EMS doesn't, because they're contracted, so, at this point, but.
There they are, they're part of our system.
They don't really answer that.
Yeah, they know the answer to it.
So, I agree with him, that they're not, I wouldn't consider them county at this time.
I thought maybe the city might have somebody on there to make sure that the sales tax dollars is how much is being spent towards.
Well, that's kind of the issue, is that, they ponied up money, in my eyes, they ponied the money up for solid waste, but they haven't ponied up any for joint communications. I mean, they can say, yeah, we gave so much, 100,000, whatever it was, well, that pays for operations. That doesn't do anything for capital improvement. So, I mean, and the problem is, I'm here by myself, because the resolution, or the board is the biggest thing, and we can't really, I don't feel comfortable trying to move forward with anything until we get the board together, and that's, there's plenty of money that.
That's your starting point, I mean, I guess you're right there.
There's plenty of money that comes from that sales tax where we can fund it, by getting it, financed somewhere, and it's not, it wouldn't be a burden on anybody each year, or if we wanted to pay it off early. I mean, Motorola, when they were here, they explained all that to us, that there's great financing available for it. And, if the financing's there, and, and the funds are there from the sales tax,
Well, they're there, but they're not, but I was thinking that the upgrades on the radios, that 911 fund we had, we could do
911 fund is not gonna fund,
everything that you
it
want.
wouldn't even fund a half of it, what we need to do.
So do we need to either go meet with the city and their board, or have the city and board come up here and get this resolved? It seemed like they're just getting their own ones involved.
I don't know, maybe
What's he gonna say that?
Well, I think probably an opportunity for, maybe Chris and I meet with Trey, and see.
Well, here's my problem with that, is Trace had it in his lap for 3 months and didn't want to do anything about it. He never presented it to his commission, and just was stale. I think it needs to go to the city commission.
Yeah, I think it changed with that too.
I don't have the authority to put something on their agenda. I guess we could go down as a non-agenda item presented, but, we should go through channels before we do that.
I guess, it's another 6 months, I mean,
Well,
that's
or
the problem.
can we go ahead and do something and make, and then.
Well, we could, but we might be in the same position we were in with, local agreement, that we adopt something, that, even though they vetted it, they don't pass it. Which I really would prefer not to do, but yeah, we could.
And we could have that meeting with Trey within a week, so we have an idea where he's at, and if we can get that forward onto the city commission agenda quicker.
Yeah, 'cause I know I'm ready to move.
Well, I mean, the issue to me is, what do we need any other outside people in there for, If that's the case, they want to put their finance guy, we want to put the county coordinator on. I mean, this could go back and forth forever. And, the users of the system are the ones that know what's wrong and what the problems are with it. And anybody can be there for advisement. I mean, both commissions are gonna have to sign off more or less on any major upgrades that we're going, or expenditures that we're gonna wanna make. We're not gonna, just vote, this is what we wanna do, and then not ask the commission's, approval of it, 'cause that's where the money's gonna come from. So,
And it's it's an advisory board.
no, it's not advisory board. Not advisory.
The then why would you have to have commissions for approval for appointing?
Well, just to stay in good graces. You know, I come up here, I don't need their approval, but I come up.
Pretty much any board that doesn't have its own taxing authority, they're advisory.
I've explained this to them, that I'm not gonna be part of any advisory board, because who's gonna make the decision who's hired and fired in there?
That's probably something has to be done in the agreement, I didn't see that in the agreement.
Yeah, the advisory part was taken out of the resolution. Cause I'm not, there's 3 or 4 of us on that board that don't agree with it being advisory, because we're gonna make recommendations, and then there's somebody that's just gonna overturn it, and I don't have time for that. And I'm not gonna, I don't have time to be on about it.
Well, then, see, but that, at that point, then maybe you do have to have elected officials on that board that would be able to give the board some understanding whether this is something that could possibly be approved at their level or not. And whether they're voting members or ex officio members that are designated. Because like you said, you have to still come back and get the funding approved. Which in effect makes that advisory board.
The last talk that we had was that the board would be in direct supervision of the communications director, and that, they would decide who the director's gonna be, who's, which the director would make the decisions that will inside there.
But the funding still has to come, so you're making.
Things are gonna be, the board would be there for budgetary purposes, they would, get the budget, I think it was said by June or July, I think, in that resolution, that they have a budget prepared by June or July each year. And, things have to be budgeted for.
Well, they don't have taxing authority, and I don't think the boards can delegate the ability to levy a tax to an outside entity. And both boards have the authority to do that, but they can't say, well, you board, you set your levy, and whatever you need, we'll levy the tax. So that part still needs to be worked out. So that's a pretty fundamental dispute about what the purpose of the board is. It's got to be approved in some manner by, even if it's just by objection, by both of the two boards. The city commission and the board of county commissioners, because they're the ones that have the statutory obligation and right to levy taxes to fund it. So, and I think you might have some public outcry about non-elected personnel, and you're the only one that would be on the board that would be elected. And everyone else would be non-elected personnel making decisions about taxation. There's always concern with that.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're saying that they would, on or before the first day of May of each year, the board shall submit for consideration of the Board of County Commissioners in the city of Atchison, an operating budget for the ensuing fiscal year. So, you might be able to get around the taxation issue by the county and the city both approving the budget and just turning over the allocation to them.
I think that's what the next sentence says, that it's to be funded through 911 taxes and fees with any shortage being paid by city and county in equal shares.
But it can't be funded solely through, the sales tax, where's that mentioned in here? Is that at all?
Shortage being paid by city and county in equal shares.
That leaves it wide open.
so it has to be approved by.
I would rather, I like, you know, if we're gonna maintain the sales tax as it currently is, I think that needs to be addressed, or needs to be mentioned in here even.
Well, I think you're 100% right, but I don't think you're gonna get that to fly past this board. I mean, it'll fly here, but I'm not sure it's gonna fly by the city by that. I think it's a great,
Right.
I mean, if we're gonna technically use the funds for what it's supposed to be used for.
right.
And then whatever's left over can be divvied up as appropriate. You know, I think if we go that way where we have the funding sources designated to one fund they have access to, the sales tax money they have access to as allocated by the county and the city, and for that matter, the other little entities in the county. Then once they're allocated that money, we have designated them without authority to spend the money as they had budgeted. And I think at that point, if they have any deviations from that budget, then they need to come back for approval to do that.
For to modify or whatever, yeah.
So it would be quite the advisory board.
Well, yeah, they're advisory in terms of they're gonna present, but it's like the department head, Jack
Right.
said. I mean, we try to work with him, he tells us kind of what he wants, and we may tweak it here, a little bit there. The same thing will happen the way I see this, is you guys present a budget with this kind of an understanding, and then we have to approve and sign off on it. As with the city, if they're gonna be a partner.
But I think the Intel probably designate some ex officio members that would represent the county commission and the city commission.
Non-voting.
Non-voting,
Yeah.
ex officio, non-voting. So that there would be that dialogue with this board that they may, you know, you may say, that's not gonna fly with us, type of thing.
I think the only, I'm not opposed, I'm really not even opposed to necessarily Trey being on the board, but the problem we run into is that Trey is two of the people's boss on that board. And I think there's some micromanagement, or whatever you wanna call it, the pressure that I think that would be there that, that I think it isn't really fair to two guys that are on the board with the boss, you know, and you may run that a little bit with the county commissioner being on there, but if they're not a voting member, maybe it's not an issue.
That same pressure will still be there, though.
Yeah, and of course, even if he's not on the board, he could still go, he could still direct him not to vote.
Correct.
So it's a.
But I, you know, not being an elected official is not an issue with me, but, you know, Mike and Wes, I think it's a little different. You know, I don't know how Wes would feel about it, probably wouldn't care about as much as somebody like, Mike and Mike, who have their direct boss being right there looking over their shoulder, it might be an issue, I don't know. I mean, that's, I'm not gonna speak for them, but, I don't, you know, as far as two elected officials, it might be a little different. I don't see them having a problem with that. But I don't know if county commissioner wants to be part of it, or a city commissioner. They used to be, that's how the original resolution reads.
Yeah, but here, I guess I like the official part rather than being actual voting, because you guys you are the ones that understand what's actually going on.
Right.
And if you make a recommendation and we sign off on it, we find out it's wrong, it doesn't help the next time that recommendation is made, you know. So that, it does give a little bit of accountability there, so.
I'd say have Chris and Pat go down and talk to them, get the talk started, and let's get this thing.
Let's get it going.
Yeah.
So we can probably, there's definitely some changes that need to be in the current resolution that Pat sent to me. Because the county clerk's office will not be doing the bill management stuff side of it. So it'll have to be changed.
Okay.
But, I mean, those are some
Well,
simple changes.
Yeah, we should talk about this.
No, I'm very concerned about our radio system and, you know, the city's got issues with theirs as well. And they're just not as concerned, you know, they've got 3 or 4 officers working at a time, you know, so it's not, their backup's right there. But, you know, if we're their backup or they're our backup, you know, we have no way of communicating. And I think it's a major issue that we need to get straightened out, and that's just part of it. I mean, ours, with East and West Repeater, somebody's in Muskota, and I'm in my office, I can't hear them. It's just garbled. And, somebody's gonna get hurt.
So you're saying that, I know Wes was up here one time with you, he thought to do some basic radio changes and stuff, that $200,000 that we could get. You're talking more beyond that, apparently.
After meeting with Motorola, that kind of threw that out the window.
Okay.
We're probably more, if we wanna do a complete makeover, you know, for everybody, you're looking probably $750,000 to $1 million, somewhere around there, to do it right, you know, and that's putting up our own Trump tower, our own,
Pay cash. So,
Well, that's something we'll take to the discussion, and I think, you know, I appreciate you, you know, looking forward there and stuff, but, wow, yeah.
it's either that or put a Band-Aid on it, and we spend a couple $100,000 just for the county, and then we're out of compliance in 5-10 years. So
What is the financing options that Motorola offered?
they didn't offer any, but they had some people they could refer us to, but it was, he thought it was lower than 4%. I don't know what the details to it were, but,
Number of years or time frame, or?
There was something that they used to do with Highway Patrol, he was telling us about, that was, by about the time you paid it off, it was time for new radios, so probably 10 years, I'm assuming. He never did give a year amount, but, I know you think it's strange, I mean, that's expensive, yeah, but, you know, the sales tax thing has bothered me since day one. I was ignorant to it, I didn't know that's what was going on, and, it's just turned into a big bickering match, and,
Well, listen,
the people in this town do not understand what's going on with that sales tax. And it was been in the newspaper, kinda, sorta, but they don't understand that what the county's using it for, they don't understand what the city's using it for, they don't understand it. And if we can't move forward with what it's supposed to be used for, then I'm gonna spell it out in black and white to the citizens of what people are actually using this money for, and what they've used it for over the years. Because, one of my guys are not gonna get hurt on my dime, or on my clock, and, because they wanna, you know, fund whatever else they wanna fund with it, you know? And, it's either gonna be money that we use out of sales tax, or I budget for it, for the county, and, we raise the mill levy, you know? And that's what, who's it hurting in the end? It's still hurting all of us, you know? It's still tax
You know,
dollars.
and the county's the one that takes the brunt for it.
Yeah.
And you
You know, for the last 8 months, it's been solid waste, and joint communications, we'll give them, you know, $100,000, you know? That's not acceptable for, you know, they're concerned about their trash men getting hurt on these, or getting all this new equipment, you know? What about the officers getting hurt, you know? They're not worried about that. And, it's time to open the eyes, you know? I know it's not a mess that any of us created, you know, but it's to a point where somebody's gonna have to do something, instead of just bickering back and forth over the sales tax. You know, if they wanna do that, then let's just do away with it and split it back up, do a city has their own dispatch, county has their own dispatch, I mean, but I don't, that's why I think that board needs to get going, because the users of the board understand where I'm coming from. And,
No, I can't argue with it. You know, you just lose them the perception that we would wait, they had to make the agreement.
right, no, I know, and to get back to what we were talking about, what we thought was gonna be $250,000 fix, we'd almost still be in the same boat, without getting too technical on it, we'd still be switching channels, trying to talk to each other, and it's just not, it's a Band-Aid fix at that point, you know, and then later on down the road, it just comes back to bite us and costs us more money.
The trunking system he's talking about, if you have a big emergency, you can take all the different frequencies and put them in one, where everybody can talk to everybody without having to scan frequencies and transmit.
God forbid anything else ever happens, you know, like Bartlett or Sandy Hook, but it can, and it could, you know, and if we go into an active shooter situation down here at the school with the ambulance and the fire department and us and the police department trying to communicate while we're going into the school, we don't have any communication.
How do we compare, I'm just seeking information, other counties, I mean, our size with a system like this? I mean, are some of the other counties kind of antiquated like this, or most others? I mean, like, what's Brown County? I mean, they're actually a bigger county.
Brown County uses the trunk system now. They also do have a VHF system that they use, which we're UHF, PD's VHF. Most agencies, we're the only UHF user, the county agency is the only UHF user in the area, in northeast Kansas. Besides,
Which means that if we need mutual assistance from other outside the area,
We can't communicate.
they can't communicate with us, and we can't communicate with them.
So Jackson and all those are.
Jackson went 800. Jackson County actually uses the Highway Patrol's tower in Huron, which is the 800 megahertz system. They use it more than they use the one in Shawnee,
So if we approach the city and the city said they want to go forward, and your suggestion is, we do our thing, they do ours, what would that cost me just to take care of our business? That's not going to solve the problem, is it? Because we couldn't communicate with them.
Because
No.
you don't have your back, I mean, if you're backing them up, you still can't communicate very good with them, but they're backing you up, you know.
Right, and kind of in the proposal of what we kind of have, that Wes and I have kind of been working on, awaiting the board, is that ultimately, if we can get it right, and we all go on the same system, we manage all the radios out of joint communication. That way, if there's ever, you know, a radio breaks at the fire department, you come swap it out, joint communications, you know, all the funds are there out of joint communications. It remains, you know, paid for by joint communications, and then there's no money out of, you know, each individual department's budget. And that's kind of the way we were gonna push for, and explain to the rest of the board, of how we'd like to get to that point, where we can manage all that out of joint communications, being that we are joint communications, kind of.
Well, you know, I haven't been on long, but I think the one thing that I think is one really key, not to nobody else, but joint communications ought to be the one thing that us in the city ought to be like this on. I mean, that's the beginning of everything.
Correct.
And, you know, it takes me a while to kind of get there, but as I see how things go, that to me is the thing that we ought to be, I'm more like you, we need to be addressing it. More than we do necessarily the solid waste, I mean, that happens.
The city had more issue with the solid waste than it did joint communications, so that's why.
But I'm hoping some of that's gonna be behind us, but now as we move forward, we've got this issue that we need to deal with. And, so,
Well, that's, man, it's just difficult with the way the whole tax, you know, hindsight's 20/20 obviously, but, you know, years ago when they voted on it, the system should have been funded out of there back then, you know, the radio systems. The way I look at it, it's joint communications and you're funding everything out of there, that's what it should have been, set up back then, everything should have been on the same frequency, or whatever you wanna call it, but, maintaining 3 different radios, not necessarily 3, but UHF and VHF, and we have 2 systems, an east repeater and a west repeater, which they're not, you're not able to keep up at the same time, which is garble on the radios if you do that, and there's just no easy solution to what we have except spend, to upgrade to VHF to where our system's back to at least what the city has. But with new technology, everything's going digital. If you go to VHF digital, we wouldn't be able to communicate with anybody around us either, because they're not digital. They're all still analog VHF or they're 800 digital. And everybody's going to the state system because the state maintains the towers. Once you put them up, the state takes care of it. And Jefferson County recently they have 800 megahertz, but there's certain areas on that Valley Falls area where it's just not very good. So they still maintain the VHF as well with that, but they also have the UHF radio so they can communicate with us, but that was just for mutual aid purposes. Leavenworth County's all 800 megahertz, of course they spent nothing compared to what we'd have to spend, so.
Yeah, they told us what they spent. 12 million.
Yeah. Shawnee County just put a whole new system in, I think they said it was 18 million.
Well, I can't read it, there's potential funding there.
I know the city did, the water tower on South Sixth Street has all the components or whatever to put a trunk tower on. It's got the coax cable and everything running too, so our cost would be a little cheaper to that point, but I think, we would really have to look into seeing if that's our best option, or if we put the tower in a better location where it would help everybody, not just the city side. 'Cause I know the city has the PD has theirs on there, and there's a few spots up north in the lower spots, like 17th and Harper Drive. That area's a low spot, and you can't really get some reception. But there's a few spots, but otherwise that tower covers most of the city. And, the county's not so much a problem with the 800 megahertz, because we can use Leavenworth and Jackson County, or Huron towers. And if we put another one in the city, we'd be pretty well covered. When you get north, you can use Doniphan's.
They got 800.
Doniphan's countywide 800, and the county provides the dispatch service for no fees, the way I understand, from all the cities.
Yeah, they have pretty small cities in comparison.
Right.
Right.
And we don't have any cities other than the city of Atchison that I know of that use the service a lot of it. So.
Sounds like we got 2 issues here. They all tie together with one another.
Maybe it's time we have another, joint city county meeting. So I don't know if it's.
Well, and, you know, I was thinking, I think so sometime, even in early February would be time to have a joint, kind of summit, because nothing else, I know a lot of those people enjoyed the legislators, you know, being there to give them a report and ask questions, and we're gonna be dealing with some things with the legislators that I'd like to do, but I think, yeah, it's gotta start somewhere, because the present agreement that we got on the sales tax is only gonna be for a year anyway.
Right.
And, you know, we may not know a whole lot by February how the tipping thing's gonna work, but at the same token, we know by April or so, we're gonna be sitting down and starting to figure out where we're gonna go, so. You know, I still blame the state, and Chris agrees with me on that, but when you see a county sales tax, that county sales tax should be counties. I don't care, that to me is black and white, but they got this other description of it.
Right.
But that's, you're probably, you're gonna be barking up the wrong road there, because with the urban legislators, I mean, that would only change it, because it's, that county general use sales tax favors the municipalities big time.
And the only way around that is going and getting a specific use sales tax.
Exactly,
And,
but you run the risk of losing what you got.
not if you were right. I mean, if you worded it as a specific use sales tax to replace the current county use tax.
You're talking about a repeal and replace.
Repeal and replace.
Can you do that? Because I've been down there twice, and still have not got an answer from the statute of registration.
Why would you be able to?
Huh?
I wouldn't understand why you wouldn't be able to.
Well, I think there's a
Repeal, replace.
attorney general opinion that says you can.
Oh, really?
You can't.
But you have to be two separate votes, yeah, but you could adopt one and then repeal at the next election. But, it's been a little while since I looked at that, but that was my
Which
information.
attorney general was that? How far back?
I don't recall, and it's just an attorney general opinion. And I don't know whether there's the political will from, that's something that both the city and the county would have to agree on, I would think, before the legislature would.
You got to sell it to the public. I mean, the thing is, it's everybody's so confused now, how it's going. I mean, they're gonna say, now what are you doing this with? I mean, that's the sad thing about the thing right now.
Well, okay, one thing to look at it, on sales point, if you're gonna sell it to the public point, is how much of that sales tax do we actually need to fund the solid waste and to fund joint communications? You may be able to lower it from 1 cent sales tax to 3/4 or
Well, yeah, I mean, this is where you need the input from that board for future, whether you fund something like that for 10 years or, whatever, I mean, because as you said, in 10 years, there's gonna be probably something new, so now you're gonna start this cycle all over again, so, if there's enough inflation, so your sales tax revenue keep raising, yeah, I think you're right, probably 3/4 of a cent would come to.
I haven't really looked to see what it would have to be.
Well, it would be pretty close, because if you go back with a 10-year average, which here again, I think we've done some changes in solid waste, I think you're gonna find that we're gonna have probably $75,000 to $100,000 cut out solid waste when it's all said and done. It's the first time that, they've done anything about trying to get more efficient there. But generally speaking, about 1 point, and that's not figuring any kind of improvements. Well, I think, for joint communication, 911 funds have been funded, and just the basic operation of joint communication solid waste runs about 1.3 million, which would be 0.65 or 0.6. I consider last year was a record year in the amount of sales. This year we're quite a bit lower, but about 1.85 is what if you go with a 10-year average, about 1.8 to 1.85 is about what the sales tax generates countywide.
No, I would just say that one-time cost, you're looking at about, and I'm being on the high side on that about $250,000 is just the tower itself. Now, if we use a 6-year tower, that cost goes down quite a bit, but when you're upgrading radios, it's a big cost when it comes to these type of radios. But
I thought you said 3/4.
what did I say?
I thought you said you said 1/4 just now.
$750,000 total, but $250,000 of that would be just the tower itself.
I see.
The rest of it would be equipment, radios, and
So you're talking 500, but you spread that over 10 years, you're $50,000 is, that's about that much, or
Which-
a figure of interest, but I mean.
but you're looking at also the rural fire, they're not using it, their radios aren't getting beat up like the patrol guys, and even the city fire guys, they're not beating their radios up as bad as, the guys getting in and out of the car all the time, things like that. And that number is for the total shebang, all the rural, all the vehicles, anything that goes along with dispatch and everything like that, which, you know, that there are
How
some.
about maintenance agreement?
Once as far as the radios themselves,
You know, not just your financing costs and stuff, but your
well, once
service costs afterwards.
you go to, well, as far as programming radios, things like that, we're gonna look into the IT guys maybe being able to program it, but I don't think the state allows that. Once you purchase the radios, they come programmed, that includes your programming fees. Any type of service like damaged ones or anything like that, I think it's gonna be cost to it. It doesn't happen that often. I don't think I've ever had to send my radios off.
But yeah, I would say you wanna have that, but you have some of that budget in there for that, just in case.
Yeah, as far as maintaining the tower or anything like that, the way I understand it, you build it, you pay for it, and then it's the state's property, basically after that.
They maintain it.
They maintain everything.
So you got the original investment, and then they got the maintenance.
Yeah, and then they, of course,
So
they use it.
upgrades, they will be responsible for.
Yes.
Well, other question. You know, summer conferences, I've been to a couple of the next generation, I don't want to deal. Regionalization.
Regionalization doesn't mean of actual dispatchers. Regionalization means computer, if you wanna call it a big server, they put a regional server at Brown County, then Atchison, they branch off to Atchison, they branch off to Nemaha, they branch off to Jackson County, you know, they can branch off to so many, that's what they mean by regional. And
They're not talking about Ashland County's gonna run Brown County?
No.
Okay.
no, everybody still have their own dispatchers as far as the regionalization of the next gen 911. I went at the conference I was at, they talked about that, and they said, no, people are confused, that they think they're gonna be dispatching for different things, and you guys can do that if you want to, but, regionalization means there's gonna be a shared server, basically, I think all these servers will be connected throughout the state, but then they can only branch off to so many dispatchers throughout the region, so.
Well, I guess, you know, really, when we moved down Johnson County, I mean, they had a big enough, they really weren't, I guess they were dispatching some from Miami, but I mean, basically, they had stations set up so you could bring your dispatchers in there and run out of their system too. So,
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't as if Johnson County was trying to take over all of.
that would be similar to like Donovan County, you know, they're dispatching for Elwood and Waukeena, and, you know, in a smaller sense, they'd be regional, I guess, for their area, but joint communications is about the same way to explain that, I think. But I think there was some confusion on regionalization, the way I understand it, the state would be funding that server, and basically you would connect to it, and you'd still have everything here that you need, that you have now, but that server would maintain what they call cloud, type server, like they talk about with the CIC stuff. It's very similar to that.
It's not to sleep on. But yeah, they don't, huh? Or not. Well, I mean, the logical approach is to spread it out over some time, I mean, and do it right, you know, and I guess I look at it from the standpoint of, if we can do some savings here and there in the budget, if the state don't dump too many other things on us and stuff, we need to be looking at these things over an 8 to 10 year time if we can get funding, or get finance for it, because financing will not be this cheap for more than maybe a couple of years at the most.
Right. Well, as far as you know, the finance and stuff, they said, you know, there's no early payoff penalties, things like that, so if they were able to pony up the money in a couple of years and just get it paid off, then it wouldn't be an issue.
And,
But,
you know, as of right now, because I don't know whether they do it, but you know, local banks will beat 4% pretty easy too, so. Somebody told me the other day they borrowed something for 1.15 or something from the bank. I can't you're paying 2/3 on the CD, and you got these other fees that you're collecting. Okay, well, let's see what you guys want, because I know I'm ready to move.
I have to as well on that.
Pat, you been trying to get appointments?
Yeah, yeah, what else? We'll talk at the meeting. Sure, it's upsetting.
Do you have anything else for us, Jack, or anything?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, you got anything? Pat?
No,
Josh, you got anything for us? Told him we were gonna be out here early, so. Well,
You said the majority of the employees signed up for the insurance or they went on their spouses?
Had, like, I think 15 that waived, that's just straight waived for some reason or other. The majority did take time.
they were actual employees or 15 employees?
15 employees waived insurance for either spouse coverage or they were dependents of their parents still.
Any of the people 65 or older, what they do?
Majority of them are still taking it. There's still like one or two that maybe didn't.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Entertain a motion for adjournment till we eat lunch tomorrow.
That's what I'm Mr. Chairman.
And I would second that to adjourn at 3:50. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Meeting's adjourned. Paul, you get any of that cheese cut up for you yet?
No, we still got the cheese from last year.
What? That cheese, I brought last year's cheese too?